Good morning, everyone, from Dunrovin Ranch in Lolo, Montana. We're having a beautiful late spring morning. I don't know if you were with us earlier this morning, but we had quite a bit of valley fog, and it was really fun to see the clouds lift and the sun come through. With us today is our wonderful friend, Brandon Carpenter from Hash Knife Horses, and he has sent us a video today of him talking about a couple of colts that he purchased a couple of years ago and which one he's going to keep as a breeding stallion for his program. So with that, I'll ask James to roll the tape.
Welcome to the Hash Knife. Today, we're going to evaluate a couple of young stallion prospects. Last summer, we sold a stallion that we really, at the end of his use for eligibility to some of our mares. So we sold him, and the fall before, or the summer before, I'd been looking for a couple of prospects. Whether it was a proven stallion that was already breeding would have been okay, and open to young stallions, or actually looking for a 2-year-old or even a yearling. And these guys were both a couple of colts still on their mothers. So I went and looked at them, looked at one in particular, and the other one was there. And so I thought, well, you know what the heck, I'm going to take a look at both. We'll buy them both and then evaluate at that point, because it's very, very difficult sometimes to tell how they're going to mature. You can look at the mother, you can look at the sire, and then get kind of an idea, but that's not always scientific by any means. So what I'm going to do today, since they are 18 months old, is kind of go through our evaluation process and how we would pick a stallion prospect, what we're going to do, and which one we are going to most likely keep, and then the one which will be gelded and then I'll train and have for sale. So this guy here is a month younger than him, so there's a little bit of difference in the two, but we'll go through those. So bear with us, and we'll do this part by part. Okay, we're going to start with the feet. One of the most important things. It's all important, but feet are extremely important. I'm not drawn to this guy's white lower leg, and it's actually not a stocking, it's a sock. It goes up midway up the cannon bone. I'm not wild about it because a lot of times what comes with a sock or stocking is a white hoof. And you can tell on this guy, on the very, very bottom, he's got some white, but it's also very pinkish inside. So it's not a white hoof. There's normally a softer hoof than a black hoof. It almost always is. And when it's got a pink hue to that, it's got some pliability to it, so it doesn't just break out. And it's just on the very end. So that, and it being on his hind feet, I'm not overly worried about that. Most of his 60% of his weight is going to be on these front feet, and that's what's important. He's got 2 black feet. These horses right now look horrible because it's winter time and it's just a warm day, but you can see they're matted up. You got to kind of look past some of that stuff. They've been laying in the snow and the mud. They're not trimmed. I want to see how their feet grow out and kind of evaluate them from there. But those hind feet are fine. That's the weakest portion of this horse that I can see right now. This other horse over here, this gelding, you'll see all 4 of his feet are nice, solid black, and very good feet. They both got great feet, but this guy is just a little bit diminished because of that. It's not bad. I'm not going to condemn him for that because he's got mostly black feet and look really good. Because these are gaited horses, Tennessee Walkers, we pay particular attention to how their muscular and skeletal structure is and how it applies to their overall movement. That'll make a big consideration, or is a big consideration on how they're going to move and how you can predict whether they reach with their front end, whether they pick their hind end up and reach forward, or sweeping motion forward and keep it low. So what we're looking for is having him stand relatively straight up and down and find the point of his scapula, the top of his shoulder. And then, of course, this point here is the point of the shoulder where the humerus attaches to the scapula. Then we've got back down here, right here is the back of the humerus. So it's basically this part of the skeleton. And you can see how that's a really long, sweeping area there. If you pull that up, that's about, if you were to lay that up there, that's well past halfway to the top of this scapula. So he's going to have a really long, and because this comes back and slopes low, he's got a long lever there that he's going to be able to reach forward with. If it was long and back and more flat, he would still reach, but he would reach and only put down so far. So this guy's going to have a really long reach on the front end. We like that. We're looking for the shoulder slope, the muscling and the skeleton, so that he can reach forward as well with the top of his shoulder. Now with the hind, we're looking for the same thing here. We're looking for from the top of the withers to the top of the pelvis where it joins right there. I want a back that's fairly short. I like a short backed horse so that it has not got a lot of pressure and trying to hold up a lot of weight with a really long lever there. It's short, it's compact, and it'll really be able to take a lot of weight and hold a lot of work. Now from the top of that back to where his joint of his hip is, you can see that is a long distance here, and further back than the normal. On most non-gated horses, that point will be almost dead over the top of his hip, point of his hip. The other thing we're looking at is where this hind end of this reaches, and then from there down to his stifle joint. And look at that really nice slope here, and then we've got a really nice long distance here. And then when you look from here, from his hock down to the ground and up to here, this is a fairly long lever here compared to that. So most likely he's going to reach and step forward, have a lot of reach with his hind end, with a lot of reach on the front, and which should provide a really efficient step and really smooth, because he's not going to pick his body up to move. He's just going to sweep and reach and be able to be somewhat elegant in that matter. Most all of them are a little narrower on the front end. That's fine. You want that on your walking horses. I'm also looking at the bottom of his legs. He's got a nice long pastern on the front and the back. That's this distance here. You want a nice long pastern so that this also supports a good hoof, but you want to be careful that this does not set down too far. If this normally, as he is standing, set way down, then he may have a suspensory ligament issues. And there are some genetic anomalies in some gated horses that have that. All horses can have it, but some breeds and some particular lines can be more prone to it, like our Peruvian Pasos. The Pasofino breeds are very prone to that, so you want to look at that as well. If I can pull him around, step to his hind end, and I'm going to look at how thick he is, how he kind of rounds down. He's not flat backed on his hind end. And look at the growth he's going to have here. This distance here that's called a gaskin. If he stands up straight, we'll get into, there we go. There we go. Look at how much flare is in here. He's going to be able to have a lot of muscle. He's going to be able to pack a lot of muscle on the outside. He's fairly flat right now, but he will be able to open that up and put some muscle on there and have a lot of power on that hind end. His legs, if he backs up, he's ever so much cow-hocked, meaning his toes are sticking out a little bit away. And if I back him up a little bit and maybe straighten him up a little, that might help. He might straighten him out just a bit. There we go. We can put some weight on that hind end. There we go. And you can still see he's just ever so much cow-hocked. I want that in our walking horses. We don't want that. We want that foot to be able to reach and move and articulate. That's a good thing in the walking horse. And of course, see a little bit better how straight he stands. Those legs are nice and straight. He's not pulled in on the hocks. They're nice and straight up and down until he gets to the bottom of the where the pastern meets the ankle, and then starts to flare out a little bit. So all in all, nice little pony. Really well packaged. I'm really impressed with his length of back. And then for us, the absolute most important thing to look at is this face. He's got a pretty head. Aesthetics is there. What I'm looking at is, look at this eye. really soft, kind look about him. He's nice and calm. He's got look at his eye space is very, very wide. When I stretch my fingers out, he goes from the edge here to here. He's got a lot of brain space in here. There's a great big block up here. There's a lot of brain space. He's got a short face. He's got an ugly rounded head. He's got good teeth, good mouth on him. He's got good. I just stuck something in your mouth the other day, didn't I? There, look at that. Nice and even. That bite is very, very close. Got a very, very slight overbite, but not very much at all. So, all in all, a really good look about this horse. I'll back him up here. We'll get a look at his front end. Same thing with his feet. Get him to stand up straight. Look at his legs, and his feet are ugly right now because we haven't trimmed them. I'll just let them grow out. But you can see how nice and straight those legs are. They are narrow. He's 18 months old, but look how narrow the shoulders are. He will thicken up and really match into the rest of his body. But this mind is so important. That's one thing we breed for, is that disposition, the mind. What is it actually going to tell this horse to do? How calm is he? How well does he accept things? Is he a horse that's kind of mean or kind of nasty? And he's not. This is a sweet, really sweet dispositioned horse. And so that's primary. Secondary is his conformation. And then after that is color. And again, we really don't care much about color. It doesn't matter. We're not breeding for color, because you can ride the color, but if you can't control the color, it doesn't do you any good. All right, we've got him kind of taken care of, so then we'll move on to this other horse in a minute. Okay, we've already covered the feet with him. Good solid black, nice large feet, able to carry a lot of weight. One of the first things you'll notice is when you look at the top of the scapula, which is right here, compared to, see, he's got a little bit more movement to him. You can stand straight up and a draw. There we go. Look how much more steep this angle is compared to the other one. The other one laid back a little bit more, a couple of degrees. So when you compare that, and then his elbow right here, very similar on the elbow, where this, or the humerus, not the elbow, from the elbow to the point of the shoulder. This is very much the same slope, very similar, and the length is very similar. So it's up here above halfway, which is great. He just doesn't have quite the slope of the shoulder from the top of the scapula to the point of the shoulder that the other guy does. So he's not going to have quite as much reach, not as much as this guy will here. Now, one thing you'll notice, he's a month older, but he's a little taller, he's a little bigger overall. He's got great bone. Both of them have really good, thick, heavy bone. He's got a little blemish here on his hip, and I think they've been playing and sparring and biting and pawing, and, well, I know they have. I've been watching them do it, so kind of disregard that, and that's something you look past. So the movement on this front end is going to be very similar, only he'll pick his leg up a little bit on the front and reach it, and he can't reach quite as far because he doesn't have quite that slope that the other guy's going to have. Now from the top of the withers, again to the top here of his hind end, and let's see if I can get him to stand up a little bit, get him to kind of break at the hip, there we go, I can see where it moves. Okay, right here is where his pelvis meets his spine. Last rib is in here, and the point of the hip is right here. Very similar. He's got a little bit longer back overall, though. You see, that's the other horse is about this long. He's about this long. That's going to be a significant difference, and you kind of see it in his overall body length and body conformation that's there. Now you look here, from here to the back of his pelvis, and then draw that, and then to this stifle joint. Kind of a long, yeah, but he's got, again, a narrow angle here. The other horse had a very similar angle there. But you notice how his back doesn't round, it's a little bit flatter on the back. Not much, but a little bit. And then this distance from, a couple horses playing over there, this distance from his hock to the ground and up the stifle, and notice how that is up a little higher off the ground. This distance from here on the other horse was a little bit lower. So this horse is probably going to pick himself up and set that foot down instead of more of a sweeping motion. He may end up being more towards the diagonal in gait, meaning he'll be a little more trotty, but he'll certainly be a little bit more rough in his movement as well. All right, they both have great bone, great depth and heaviness of, especially these lower bones, these cannon bones, are really nice. And the maturity is really showing on these little stud colts. You'll see, get him to pull over here a little bit. Around. He's got quite a wide flare to his hind end. The width of that gaskin is really noticeable. He's got and he has been that way since day one. He's got a little heavier hind end than the other one. Here we go. And the other one's really starting to bloom here the last couple of months. Ooh, good boy. Easy. Boy. And you can see this flare here at distance, and see he's a little bit, he wants to paw, he wants to move. Notice how he's not quiet like the other horse is. And we can train that out of him, but that's just his natural thought process and movement. Now, if you look at his hind end, look at those legs. We'll get onto him straight here. Those legs are, and he's kind of off a little bit, but they're very similar straight up and down. There we go. And slightly cowhocked, meaning his heels are in and his toes are pointed out, which is just fine. That's what we want in our horses. And of course, when you look from the side, they both stand, they don't undersling this bone. And both of them stand straight up and down. Get him to stand. There we go, stand still. Notice that cannon bone, which is from the hock. Now look how nice and straight that is. It sits in ever so much, just a little bit. This guy, similarly, we didn't cover that, but we will here now. Move him off, and look how nice and calm he is. Really like that. Get him to stand up a little bit, just kind of move him a little. He's going to push against me. There we go. Come on, big boy. There we go. And same thing. Look how those legs are almost straight up and down, but just kind of come in, and at this angle, you can see it really pretty well. So, good comparison. A lot of similarities on these horses, and a lot of differences. Nice and quiet. And then we come to our primary thing we want to talk about, and that's this mind. And remember, I measured the eye space, or the brain space on this horse, or on the last one. And I can take from the end of my finger to my thumb, and look how much further they were just even on the other horse. On this one, from eyelash to eyelash, this one only comes to about there. That's a significant difference. A lot narrower horse on a bigger, or a lot narrower space on a bigger horse, and his mind kind of shows it. He's a little bit more, got a little bit more movement, a little bit more skittish, and of course we can work on that, train that out. We're going to look at the mouth here. See if we can see that. Got great teeth, almost identical to the other one. Little, ever so much of a overbite, maybe not even a 1/16 of an inch of overbite. So they both have got great mouths, great teeth. I'm looking for the depth of the mouth here. Nice deep mouth, but not quite as deep as this guy. Look how much deeper this mouth is here. And he's got his lower lip in, but from here to here, that's a nice deep mouth to take a bit. Really like that. So either horse is really a good stallion prospect, to be quite honest. But when you're trying to pass on some genetics in your horses, you want to get the best you can. And I can take any horse, doesn't matter what it is, and you can nitpick bad things about them. You can make good things seem even better. But really, ultimately, look at his mind. Look at how nice and quiet he is. Look how he's not. He's always got to be doing something. Doesn't mean he's always smart and that he's curious. He's just always got to be doing something. And if I moved a little faster on him, he'll just back right off. And then watch, see, there we go. Good. It's not bad. Yeah, again, either one of them would be a good prospect But I'm leaning with this guy. See, he's bored here too. But if I walk up to him, there, just good boy. Hey, good boy. So there it is. It's really hard to do this. It is gut-wrenching for me, really, because you could have a fantastic animal here, a fantastic animal here, and you do all of the things that you're going to do. I want to, and in the training, and I could train them both before I gild one of them, but we're not able to do that with our facilities. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have a horse that I'm going to gild that's going to be real studdy or act like a stud, real nippy and a knothead around mares, real dominant. So one of them's got to be taken care of. And then most likely, we're not going to do it until in the spring, but most likely this guy's going to be our stallion prospect. Just like his overall shorter body, better mind, good feet. I like this guy too, but I'm not wild about how his personality is. And his eye, you look at it, again, he's got a pretty soft eye, but not quite like the other one. Notice how this is not, you can just see it in his eye, how he's a little bit more, I don't know, yeah. You can, there we go, love on him a little bit and soften him up. Look at how that eye softens up. That guy's like that naturally. This guy is, you have to get there with him, and he'll make a great mount, but I just don't think he'll be what we want for the stud prospect. All right, I hope that's enlightened you a little bit. Of course, I can be completely wrong and gild him, and he would have been the better prospect. That's the chances we take, and it's just a matter of years of observation, what we're looking for in our horses, to pass on with the dam, and hopefully produce some colts that are really calm and nice for people and have a great gait, and that's what it's about. All right, you guys, we'll talk to Suzanne here now and get her thinking cap on and ask some questions. Head aesthetics is there.
Well, that was a lot of fun watching Brendan with his young colt. And in fact, I happened to be with him when he bought those two young colts. Well, that was a lot of fun watching Brendan with his, I'm sorry about that, a little technical difficulty on my part. Yeah, I was with Brendan when he went to a ranch of a person that both he and I know, a good friend of ours, a woman named Jan Carr, who breeds Tennessee walking horses. And it was really fun to be with Brandon in the field as he chose those two particular colts to buy. Brandon has just a terrific eye for animals, for walking horses particularly. You know, he has spent his entire life around walking horses and other gaited horses, but he really has an eye for picking a horse that's going to be a really good horse, not just in terms of its mental abilities and its personality, but also in terms of its physical structure. You know, these horses that are used both in guest ranches and on ranches have to hold up. They need to be physically stout. And I do think that Brandon just joined us. Here I was ad-libbing, Brandon. Hi, welcome.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm just fine. I was just telling people that I was with you at Jan Carr's ranch when you picked out those two little stud colts. And it was fun to watch you do that and to kind of watch you go through the things that you were looking for. I assume that in a future video, we'll see the other guy as well.
Well, he should be on the rest of that video. That was about 20 minutes long. Did it stop? Did it?
Yeah, we had a tech glitch on the download apparently from YouTube, and so we got about half of the video, unfortunately, and I didn't catch that until we were most of the way through it. But yeah, so unfortunately, we'll have to find the rest of that video and show the rest of it here as soon as I can get the YouTube glitch figured out. Okay, how far did you get? We got about halfway where you were talking about the first horse being Cowtoad. Okay, Cowhawk, yeah.
So, Brandon, tell me, how long of a breeding life does a stallion have? When do you start to breed a stallion, and when do they come out of their utility as a stallion?
That's a very good question. It's individual. We have had a stallion breed as early as 18 months. They will tell you when they're ready. And these guys right now, I can tell you they're ready because they're sparring, they're fighting, and I've got them still kept together. They've grown up together, they get along, they fight, they spar, but it's more of a wrestling match for dominance. And they're not hurting each other as horses. Well, they're certainly not trying to kill each other because sometimes stallions will. But they're both ready to breed. They would love to see a mare jump a couple of fences and try to get to them, or they would as well, but they haven't. So this spring we will breed one of them, and or this summer really I'll probably breed in about June. So we have a horse or colt someplace the first part of May. And when it's nice and clear, we're done calving, and we don't train our horses as 2-year-olds. So waiting a little bit longer is fine. Another month or so, or a couple of months is for us is fine, as long as we don't go too far into the winter with a foal that's being weaned. And you saw last year, with the little Envy, she was right at the edge of being too long. I didn't want to make her an orphan, you might say, too late into the winter time. So. As far as how long they'll go, we've had some stallions that have gone almost 30 years. And we had one that was 28, and that winter we went ahead and he was put down because he was losing weight. One of those things, you could not put enough feed in him. His teeth weren't there, and he was at the end of his life. And so we've talked about that before. You want to have give him a good life, with as painless and ethical end of their life as you can possibly do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that in nature, horses generally die a pretty horrible death.
They do.
Yeah, I mean, there's no good way out for a horse. And as a horse keeper, you really have to keep your eye on that and help the horse across as it gets to that point where it's just going to be nothing but pain. For the last part of their life. So how often do you breed a horse? Would you breed one stallion to a number of mares in one season? And how many mares do you have at this point, Brandon?
Yeah, we basically breed whatever you want to have come up that following spring. And we've had as many as three stallions at a time. And so you pick and choose a mare and stallion. You try to match those genetics, the personalities. You would not want to we've had some stallions that some of them are a little hotter or more flighty, you might say, than some others. Well, you don't want to match a really hot stallion with a hot mare. We're raising horses for the general public to purchase and be able to enjoy. And that would be somewhat of a horse that most people probably couldn't handle. There are certainly a lot of people that can, but generally, we really want to make them, everybody or the most of the population be able to handle them. So you mix and match based on their personality and genetics and the phenotype. What do they look like? What are they shaped like? What kind of walk does one have? There's all of those considerations that go into that. So that's who we match with. Now, that was when we had, oh my goodness, how many breeding mares? I don't even know. We had over 50 head at a time. And three stallions serving those brood mares. So we've pared that back down. It's just me now. It's not my dad and I and my sons. That it's very labor intensive to work horses and train horses. Extremely labor intensive. So it's just me. And so we've got just the one stallion now, and we've got a half a dozen breeding mares. So I'm not breeding all of them at the same time because I try to extend the life of these mares a little bit. I may have some of them breed 2 years in a row and have a year off, depending on how they've come out of taking care of a foal throughout the summer. If they're a little thin or they're not recovering like I want them to or think they should, then I won't breed them that year. I'll look at them going, let's wait. Let's give them a year off. I'm not interested in making a puppy mill. We want quality animals that we can have that are serviceable for a long time.
So, Brandon, will you offer this stallion as a stud for other mare owners? I know that when I bred the Lady Lanza, I took Lanza up to Jan Carr's and Kate Sousa's ranch and used Kate's stallion. And the thing that I always looked for in choosing a stud was what kind of foals came out of that stud, in terms of their mind and their bodies and things of that nature. So do you ever stand a stud for other people to breed to their mares?
Yeah, we have. It's not all that, I mean, that's not our primary purpose, but if somebody likes what they see and they say, hey, we'd like to breed our mare to your stallion, is that possible? Yeah, we can do that. I mean, I want to look at the mare. I want to see where she's been exposed to. I want to make sure that she's clean. I don't want any STDs because they are they're within the horse world as well as the cattle world. So I want to make absolute sure that we're good there, but we will stand a stud occasionally. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's really exciting for to go shopping for a stud. I have to tell you, I've enjoyed that process. And Dick Richardson, the vet here, he really helped me throughout that process understand it better. As a person who is not primarily focused on breeding, there's a lot to learn. People don't understand what all goes into choosing the right pair to get what you want in the end.
That's right. And to maintain a business of selling horses, it's I lose sleep over it, believe it or not, because this is a decision that you make that is 10, 15, 20, 30 years into the future, because you may have, and longer, you may have some exceptional stock that you want to keep from this stallion and a particular mare as seed stock that you want to continue to that lineage. So eventually, if you keep too many of those, now that stallion is not usable. So you may have some issues with bottleneck genetics, which you don't want to line breed or interbreed with some of the progeny. So it's always best if you get a really good stud, then it's best to start looking at outside mares to purchase. So it's a very dynamic thing where you're not just looking at the stallions, you're also looking at your mares and your production there. It's a little bit different than the cattle side. To us, the bulls are more expendable. You can have a cow and she's only going to stay in the herd, so long, but the bulls are even shorter lived sometimes. And sometimes because they grow and they're just too big or they get lazy or, there's other number of issues where, you will, send a bull to town and then replace him with one. You don't do that with a stallion necessarily because there's a lot more to that. And, it's a lot longer type of sustainable breeding stock type pool that you're going to be using.
A bigger investment all the way around. I did see that James is going to be able to show the rest of your video after you are finished working with Ahsley and Oggy. And I want to thank you for bringing all of this to us, Brandon. I learn so much from you all the time. I really treasure my interactions with you, and I know that the rest of our members do as well. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I just hope I don't talk too much. You know how I can do that. I am passionate about these horses and the cattle, and so I will tend to probably go into much more detail than he really wants to hear. So
not at all. It's very engaging, Brandon, and we love your passion.
Well, good. Yeah, and I can't do this. I got to tell you, I can't do this without my wife. I mean, and my boys. Although the government owns them both, in the Army and the firefighting world, but when they're home, I work them like a couple of rented mules. So, but my wife is there all the time. She fills in, and she's the unsung face behind everything. So,
I've been telling people that on the chat.
Oh, have you?
I have.
It's true. It's very true.
I've been there, and I know what I'm thinking. Well, she's just a wonderful person, and I hope she had a terrific Mother's Day. I hope you feted her very well.
Well, I was able to spend the morning with her. Yeah, I went the night before, and we went and spent some time with her dad and stepmom, and then I think I left there about I don't know 3-4 in the afternoon yesterday afternoon to come back to the ranch. So I'm not so sure whether she likes the solitude better or she likes me there. So I mean the jury's still out there.
Well, thank you, Brandon, and I do believe that Ahsley is on. Are you there, Ahsley?
Well,
yes, I'm here.
There we go.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you all for joining Brandon at his ranch. And stay tuned after Ahsley is finished with Oggy for the last half of Brandon's video. Thanks again.
You betcha. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Ahsley, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, good. Well,
Awesome.
and good. Well, how are you?
I'm good. I've got.
I forgot how to speak English today already.
Are you? You must be still hooking up with the video.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay.
There we go. There, I see you. I think
Hey,
James is.
hello. I don't know if I'm on the arena cam or the ranch cam, but I have some good news and some bad news.
Okay.
So the good news is I was able to make those braided ropes, or the footman, not the footman's loops, the shaft loops. I was able to make those and make them longer than what the other one was.
Okay.
And what I actually ended up doing, I braided it all the way down and then I tied it around itself in a loop. So that way it's adjustable. I can slide it up and down and then it'll tighten on here. The bad news is I think the footman's loops are in the wrong spot.
Okay.
Because this is as far back as I can get him to go and he still needs to be another 8 inches back because this is still hitting into his shoulders.
Okay,
So,
let's look there. How can we? Let me look here. Okay, so where the ring is for the britchin is right at. Looks like it's right at the end of the loop, right? So
right, yeah.
Okay, so we can still. How long is that? Is that strap adjustable? Looks like you've got some tag end there that you can.
This is already all the way tight. I'd have to punch some more holes into it.
Okay. Yeah. No. What you can do is loosen that and make that longer, because what we want is that ring behind that footman's loop, and that will allow your shafts to come forward, and then you can shorten the distance with your traces, your trace ropes. So take those and open those way out, all the way to the end. And even if you have to just loop it through without doing a second loop through there. Yeah, just make that as long as possible, because that's your holdback straps basically for your brakes.
But isn't that going to hold him back further? Like we need the shafts to come farther forward on his shoulder.
Yes, what you'll do is you'll be able to back him up more into the shafts towards your single tree.
But then as soon as I go with him, am I going to tighten these up after? Like as soon as I pull him forward, it's just going to pull forward again.
Yeah, you don't. Those don't matter if they pull forward. Those are to hold everything back. So those have no pull on them. What you'll do is you'll shorten your traces. See if you can pull that back. There you go. Okay, right there. See now how that's as far back as he'll go. There you go. Okay. Yeah.
It's still to the point where it's going to hit him in the neck. Because we did this last time too.
Okay. Jordan. Okay. Yeah. Our footman's loop might be just.
Yeah.
Okay. That's as far as he can go. Okay. Yeah. We might have to put either a longer strap or another loop in there, and it's easier to put another strap or longer strap. But when you now see your end of your shaft is right at the point of his shoulder. So
yeah, but as soon as we go to turn, it's going to come right here into his neck again. So it needs to be out in front of his shoulder.
A little bit. Yep. So some longer holdback straps there that go through your footman's loop that go into your ring on your britchin is a way to solve that. Those things can be, it doesn't matter how long they are. They can be longer because what they're doing right now is just holding the stone boat back. If he was to stop, if you were on ice, it would just hold it back. You don't pull with those. You just hold everything back with that. So those can be longer. Yep. So
Okay.
then-
I'm just
now-
wondering if they should have been like back here to start with or something.
Yeah,
Just
it looks
another-
like it looks like I could have measured that back a little further for you and told you, yeah, let's have another option there. We could have put another weld on that, or another loop back there, or just place that one back there further. So
okay.
in
If I take this out of here and tighten it around the shaft, do you think it would stay there?
it
and be in the
will
right
hold
spot?
it up. And honestly, you're not going to have to hold anything back, so you could really take the straps off and not even use them, right? Because when he stops moving, that stone boat's going to stop. It's not going to come forward.
Okay.
It's not, it's not a wheeled vehicle, and it's not
Yeah.
slick on ice. So we'll be able to use
Okay.
it. We'll be good.
So then, so I'm going to undo these and I'll try it when I back him up and then move the shaft loops back and see if that will help.
Yeah, there you go. It looks like the shaft loops it looks like they will slide on your shafts, but it looks like they're tight to it.
Yeah, as long as, so I can loosen and put them up and down, but as soon
Yeah.
as they get on here and they have the weight, then it's all pulled down because it's all square knots.
Okay, I
So
get
the
it.
weight of it pulling on it is going to tighten it.
Yeah, and it should.
So they could be a little longer.
Yeah, it should be kind of a loose loop, but it's okay. That'll work fine. There you go.
Well, if it's too loose, then it like starts to slide off the end here. So I figure like I can move them when
Yeah.
I need to. I can
Yeah,
slide them
and it
back and
won't-
forth.
Yep, and it
But if
won't
the
hurt.
weight's on it, then it holds.
Yep, no, it won't hurt a thing. So now how you looking? You should be about right now on your distance. There we go.
Yeah,
That's going to
now
help.
it's coming out from his shoulder. So
Okay.
so now the shaft loops are pretty much as far back as the footman's loops.
Okay. Yep, I see that. They're really close there. Okay, so now all we need to do is shorten your traces up. When you put your traces on to pull, shorten them up so that they are just making contact. And you're almost not, you're not pulling super tight, but it's snug. That way he won't pull up out of the shafts. And I think the way we've noticed with these before is that they will move on us and stretch. So let you bring that over here and I'll weld another loop on there in about 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Just have to drive it all the way out there.
There you go. Have him drag it. He'll be good and broke by the time we're done.
Oh yeah. Okay, that.
There you go. That's fine. I think you should err a little bit on the tight side because we know that may stretch. We've had to do it in the past, so I think you're good. Very good.
Okay. Yeah, he was freaking out just a little bit when we were just starting to pull this because everything was touching his neck and his shoulder. He's like, I don't like that.
Yeah. I can't blame him a lot. He needs to learn how to side pass or half pass a little bit, with his front end. Instead of turning his neck, he can turn the whole body a little bit, which is part of the point. But that's part of the training process too.
Right.
We could bend those out, splay them out away from his body at the tips a little bit, but I don't think we really need to that much.
Yeah.
I think they are a little bit, I think, as it is.
They're both pointed inward because James and I had to shorten the width of it.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah, but as it right now, it's like parallel, and what we need to do is just open them up a little bit. Would be the thing. I know you can't see that, but it's on the film for those that are watching. All right.
Forward. Easy. Okay, that is a heck of a lot better. Whoa. Good boy. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
There you go.
Yeah.
Better.
Still kind of digging into his neck, but I think I can make these shaft loops longer.
Okay.
not right this second, but whoa.
Yeah, no, I agree. If as long as you can work around it for now, I think we're good.
Okay.
And then make an adjustment later because we're getting there. It's getting better and better.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be what I'm going to do. I don't know if we can. I don't know if I can continue pulling him with him like this.
I see that he's looking like he wants to move, and he thinks this thing's going to eat him all of a sudden.
Yeah, we haven't worked on it in like 2 weeks, and I've been busy, getting stuff ready for summer, and he's going to cross the street. So we've this is like our first day back in 2 weeks. So
you know
he's
what?
a little nervous about it.
He is, but that's he's still not bad. He's not going crazy over it, so that's good. And we are a little bit closer now to that single tree. He hasn't touched it, but that thing is a lot closer to him and right under. He feels like it's under his feet. Mm-hmm. So it's not bad. Yeah, I'm actually kind of impressed that he's doing that well. If it's been full 2 weeks off, so not bad.
Yeah, when I brought him over here, I took him in the round pen first to get all the sillies out. So I'm like, we're gonna do that first. Make sure you're listening to me.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. Yeah. Okay. I think we're on a solution here, and it's just a matter of him needing to settle down. And I'll bet you we give him a few minutes. If you can hold him back, he's probably going to, be much, much better as he calms down a little bit. Because he's needlessly, doing Oggy games. There we go. There's a nice relaxation. He's starting to chew a little bit. Very good.
Boy. Yeah, I think I need to let these go or let the shaft loops be like 4 inches longer to bring them down to the point of his shoulders. And then I think we're on the money.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's not a bad idea. Dropping those down, and if it doesn't work, you can always keep adjusting. It's not a big deal. Heck, we gotta try to get this fit right so that he's we're not causing any problems. And you're right, with it touching his neck like that up high, then we are inducing some training that we don't want.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want him to and he almost just caught almost got one of them caught in the snaffle. So I got to get it down to the right level where it's supposed to be. Yep.
Well, and yes, and as he pulls forward, that will drop down some because he's backing that up and picking it up with your shaft loops. They're forward, so they're not sliding, so they're just picked up because it's kind of a fulcrum spot. That's understandable. Did you want to try to walk him just a little bit more and see how you do, or just? I'd rather get everything
kind of adjusted. Because I did walk him quite a few laps while you guys were already talking, and so this is him already being settled down.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, I got him kind of warmed up before we got on the camera because he did rear at one point, so he was a little spicy this morning.
Saucy and spicy. Okay.
Spicy, yeah.
All right. Well, good. I mean, we still got a good plan. Are you going to be able to work him a little this week then?
I'm going to try to. I'm going to grab him from across the street. We've got some people coming out later this afternoon for horse riding, and I'll try and grab him a few more times.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know how much we were going to be able to do in the future here. When I say we, again, it's you and me, not in your pocket.
Yeah, so we're going to be really busy, both of us.
Yeah, I know, and I know you're. This isn't the primary focus of what's going on, so that's the way it is. But no, this is good. I think we're heading there. We're just problem solving a little bit at a time, and we're not doing too bad with what's going on. So one thing we might want to do is, if we ever get a chance, and it's easy to do actually, is mark where we would want another footman's loop. Mm-hmm. And I think if you made another identical one and you spaced it about equidistant, a space between the loops, like where the loops are at on either side, that would give you the option of putting the shaft loop or the holdback straps between the loops, because they're not going to go anywhere. If they're tightened down properly. I don't think you're not gonna get them to move. But that way you've got some options there. You can either have a shorter pullback strap or a lot longer one on that. So that's God, I hate to do that because it means taking them off and taking them to somebody who's got a welder or having them come out, and it's such a pain for such an easy job. Doggone it. Okay. All right. Well,
I think we measured once and then cut once. We didn't measure twice.
I think you're right. Well, and you try to build these so that they'll fit what you think is going to be the best, and it doesn't always work well without the trial and error and the trial part. So
Yeah,
good.
because we can finagle with all the ropes all day, but the one permanent thing that we have is like, dang it, the wrong spot.
No, that's right. It is. It's the way it kind of works. So I think we're good. Everything's looking better. I'm happy with what I'm seeing. I'm seeing he's putting weight on his offside hind, so that hasn't seemed to bother him. That a couple weeks off has probably helped him a little bit and cleared his mind a little as well.
Probably, and he's been out, in the big field across the street with the whole herd, just running around being a horse, and he's been fine the whole time. So I think he's enjoying his little herd time.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, I think we've got a plan then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can head back into the tack room and make some longer shaft loops for these, because I think once we start there, then everything else will kind of fall into place with it.
Yeah, and then just you've got the principles, you know what to do. So we'll, if you can practice a couple times, then I would love if we can get these shafts set where they need to be a little better, just kind of like where you've discovered they need to be, and drop them down a little bit with your shaft loops, and can get him calm down ability a little bit more steady like he was. I'm thinking you can probably climb on him. Or on that stone boat, or at least walk behind it with your lines instead of leading him. Now we're going to start driving him from the ground a little bit, and then at one point, we'll be able to sit you down on that. I would love to see that. Yeah. Yeah.
The last time I did work with him, we just went through and practiced driving again without the stone boat. I just got him back into being driven. And we walked all the way around the arena. We walked out of the arena into the round pen, around a few times, back out and back through the arena. And he didn't balk any at all.
Nice.
So he's good on the driving part. Yeah.
Good.
He's good on the driving.
And it's going to be a little different when he feels some weight that he's pulling, putting some pressure on that rigging and everything. So that will change things a little bit. It'll be brand new to him. And of course, even if it's not brand new to him, he'll try to convince you it is.
Yeah, and I'm not there right next to him for him to bump into. I'm behind him, and he's like, "Where are you?"
Right. Yeah, and that's that transition. So I think we're looking good. Okay.
Good.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time today, Brandon.
Absolutely. You betcha. We'll see you later. And I think we're not going to meet next week, but the week after, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. We got it. I got it on the calendar right then. So, all right. Good luck.
Awesome.
Thanks. Catch me if you need me.
See you in a few weeks. Yeah, I will. I'll definitely send you an update.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.